our first piece of news. There are tons of potential leaks. This comes from Uber Gizmo, a website I have never heard of before. It says Nintendo Switch data mine reveals Pokémon remasters and Zelda games. This comes via letsplayvideogames.com. I believe they are who this website is sourcing. But they summarized, so I went with this one because it's a lot less to read out. They say, so with a Nintendo Direct and Indie Showcase out of the way, it seems that we already know what games for the Nintendo Switch have been confirmed. But what about the ones that are still in the works? Obviously those haven't been announced, but a recent data mine might have revealed some potential new titles. The data mine was shared with the folks at letsplayvideogames.com, although they note that the data was actually posted on Reddit about a month ago, but there wasn't much response about it. According to letsplayvideogames.com, what makes the data mine seem somewhat credible is the fact that games such as Mario Tennis Aces and Mark of the Ninja Remastered were part of it, both of which have since been officially confirmed by Nintendo themselves. Also based on the data mine, it appears that there could be several Pokemon remasters headed to the Switch, such as Pokemon Chemical and Nuclear. Given that the Switch is expected to get its own Pokemon RPG in the near future, we wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo were to bring older Pokemon games onto the Switch as well.
The data don't really mine sound like Pokemon remasters.
Yeah. The data mine also hints at Zelda remasters like Spirit Tracks HD, as well as a new title called A Link Across Islands, which seems to be similar in a similar vein to other titles like A Link to the Past and A Link Between Worlds. There also seems to be mention of Overwatch and Fortnite Battle Royale, but since all of this isn't official information, it should be taken with a grain of salt for now. That is the most overused line in all of everything.
Just a rumor so far.
Your face is the most overused line.
The grain of salt thing is the most overused.
I'm guilty of saying it myself.
Yeah. I thought you were saying that Fortnite and Overwatch might be coming to the Switch was the most overused one.
What's interesting though is if you follow the source website, which is Let's Play Video Games, it notes on their site that there were some other titles originally posted with the Reddit posts that was like posted a month ago, including games such as Mark of the Ninja, Mario Tennis, Sonic Mania, Division 2, and Undertale, all of which have been announced. So there is it adds a bit more credence to the claims, I guess, would be where I'm going. But, it is still nothing confirmed, so.
Well, yeah, especially since I think Mario Tennis and Mark of the Ninja remasters are, like, slightly specific, hard-to-guess ones, I would think.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I wouldn't say Mario Tennis is too hard to guess that they would come out with one. I guess Ultra Smash was pretty recent, but I don't know, like there's usually one per console generation anyways, so you could say like there's gonna be a Mario Kart game for the Switch before the Switch launched. It's like, yeah of course there's going to be, right? Because there's always a Mario Kart game.
Yeah. So I guess I'm not that familiar with Mario Tennis.
So no, me neither, but there always is one.
I want to bring this up. This is apparently all of the leaked games. It took me a while to find the website. I thought the original website had it posted, but it didn't. So it says, this is coming from Nintendo Life, which is a website that everyone is familiar with. Unlike
very credible place.
Yes. They say the leak is showing data-mined games for the Nintendo Switch, and it shows Luigi's Mansion 3, Metroid Prime 4, Skylax Revenge, Resident Evil 2 Remake, SNES Remix, Monster Hunter World, Bravely 3rd, Pikmin 4, Mario and Sonic, and many more coming to Switch.
Can we just make this whole podcast about the Resident Evil 2 remake?
Yeah. It continues, you still think this leak is faked? The data mine is from February 4th, and it shows games revealed in this Direct March 8th. I guess they got that wrong. This March 8th Direct. And this Nindies Direct. You heard what I said, February 4th, and it shows games revealed in this month. So apparently a lot of the games that was revealed during the Nindies Direct was listed on this before the Direct actually happened. But the full list that it has, and there are a couple that are removed here, says Ark Survival Evolved, Grip, Sonic Mania Plus, Bomb Chicken, Luminous Remastered, Crash Bandicoot, The Insane Trilogy, Reigns, King and Queens, Lightfall, West of Loathing, The Messenger, Bad North, The Banner Saga 2, The Banner Saga 3, Division 2, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and more. And then they have a few that are removed for some reason. Like they had the name typed out and then they erased it and just put removed. Maybe
Weird.
Yeah, I wonder if
Redacted.
a publisher or someone reached out to them to remove it.
They're like,
no, don't do this.
Please don't.
Like I think when
Your face is redacted.
when Shadow of the Tomb Raider was first leaked. Do you guys remember how that first leaked? It was like there was an employee on the train with his laptop open and he was working on like documents of it, and someone looked over and was like, "Hey, what are you working on?" And the guy was like, "Shadow of the Tomb Raider."
What?
Don't they have like NDAs for that?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. So the guy, I don't think it exactly happened like that, but the guy ended up that was sitting beside him talking to him about it. He ended up taking pictures of the screen. And this was like,
goodness.
this happened like 2 years ago, I want to say, and the game's finally being announced now. So,
That's
magical.
and
Wow.
there was a bunch of websites that like mentioned the story, but then the developers would reach out to the websites and be like, "Hey, can you not let people know about this?" Yeah,
We know everyone knows, but can we just
Not
hope they
talk
forget?
about it.
yeah.
Can we just please be in denial?
What going back to the story, what are your guys's like the most interesting thing that was supposedly leaked from this? Is it the Pokemon remasters, the new Zelda game, Resident Evil 2 remake?
You know what? I find interesting the DS Zelda games were on there, and I really
Yeah,
really
Spirit
enjoyed
Tracks. Give us
them. I know they're
traditional
not the
controls.
most popular. I would love that. I really enjoyed Spirit Tracks, but I like this is sort of the same thing with the Skyward Sword that we talked about. Is like I enjoyed the controls. I thought it played well, and I enjoyed the game a lot. But I know it was a barrier for a lot of people. A lot of people were very turned off by that. So if you re-release it with maybe optionally weird controls and optionally traditional controls, much like Twilight Princess HD had, then a lot of people would probably be more likely to try out this game that they missed out on, you know, that I think is a really good game. So yes,
All
bring
right.
us more Spirit Tracks. Oh,
I thought the idea was, I thought the idea of a Spirit Tracks remaster or whatever was really interesting. I'm like, whoa, really? I'd love to see that, especially if they updated the music to not sound like a DS game.
yeah, because the soundtrack is really good, and
It's one of the best in the series.
Yeah. But it's so like twangy because it's coming on the DS. So like in the Zelda Symphony, they did the overworld theme.
Oh, did they finally?
For it, and not the live symphony. No, it was the CD that came with Skyward Sword, the 25th anniversary CD, had the overworld theme from Spirit Tracks in it, and it sounds so good in orchestra. Yeah, no, it's
Axel's gonna
like
fact check you on this.
Yeah,
no,
I have it on my computer.
100%. It's one of the first. I think it's part of a medley, to be honest.
Okay, then that makes sense.
But it sounds so good, like orchestrated like that. So if they did a remaster for Spirit Tracks and they had the sound updated,
yeah, that would be. Like honestly, don't even make the remaster. Just make the soundtrack update. I don't care.
Well, there's a lot of jaggies in that game, you know, so we could clean those up a little bit.
All right. What about you, Mandy? What are your thoughts on this? Were there any games that stuck out for you?
well, they skipped Phantom Hourglass.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I'd like to see both.
Both in a bundle would be nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not really into leaks because that's not my thing, but it looks promising and they're all possible. So I'm like excited if they like, come true or something.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm the most curious about the link between islands. It sounds like a crazy.
It sounds like a
sequel.
fake name.
Yeah, like a pseudo sequel to
or working title maybe
or something.
It could be like a working title though.
Yeah,
it's like It's a
Yeah,
bridge.
that sounds weird.
A link
sounds
between
super
island
big.
is a
It's
bridge.
a bridge. The whole game takes place on a bridge.
Yeah,
The
like
face is on a
very-
bridge.
that's.
Oh, it's a
That's-
very long bridge.
But that's what a link between islands would be, is just a bridge. Like that's
Or a boat, Jesse.
Boat.
Or a boat.
Alright.
A boat links islands, Jesse.
We've never had a game on a boat in Zelda before, have we?
Yes.
I can't think of a single one.
yeah.
Or like frame we haven't had that.
no. Sorry, got Twilight Princess had a boat.
That's right. There's
Yeah,
the
and there was
raft
the boat
in Zelda
Skyward
1.
It was a canoe.
There's the raft in Zelda 1, I forgot.
Yeah, you're right. So the boats have been in the series for a long time.
Yeah, I don't think that's a game. It's
Yeah,
link
No.
between worlds, link to the past, and then link between islands.
Yeah, it seems like
Yeah.
a downgrade almost.
yeah.
You know, like you got Link to the Past. It's like it's very dramatic. You know, it's like time based. You got a link between worlds. There are two worlds connecting. A link between islands. You got a bridge.
If we went with that the naming pattern, I could see something like a link between times being a game, because a lot of Zelda games explore like some form of
spaces?
time travel.
You know what would be
Axel.
cool? If they did like the Oracle kind of way, where you have Oracle seasons, Oracle
Oh,
ages,
that would be great.
Yeah.
and then
Yes.
a concluding chapter.
More
Yeah.
more Pokemon.
Like-
The
like
more
Fire
Zelda, the
Emblem.
better. Yeah, like, were you guys a fan of the way they did that? Like, they always release the 2 Pokemon games. They always release, well, not always, but they release the 2 Fire Emblem games at once. Actually, they released 3. And
That's
then
true.
they had the Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons. Would you guys like if they did something similar for Zelda again? If they had one that, just like Oracle's, like one's main focus was puzzles, the other's main focus was the action.
Well,
I
and
think it's-
oh, sorry.
No, you go.
Well, in Fire Emblem, there were like different stories. Like
Mm-hmm.
both games were completely different, and then like the last one was a DLC, which concluded like the whole timeline stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that's good because you get like 2 different versions of a game.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Pokemon is the same game, so
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with like minor tweaks and stuff. I think it's best that way when you have 2 fairly different games, but like with the same engine or something. Like that's the coolest. I liked Oracle
Yeah.
of Ages and Seasons. I think because when you're gonna do something like Pokemon, I feel like, and this is interesting, I feel like Phantom Hourglass's approach is ideal because Phantom Hourglass like is one game, but you have that experience of both players having a different game because like the treasure rarities are different, the ship part rarities.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the ship parts don't have different rarities, but you still have to collect them and you trade them back and forth. You could do the Pokemon thing in one game. You could have randomized Pokemon rarities and things like that. So,
Mhm. Yeah, it's true. And like you said, with the Oracle games or with the Fire Emblem games, I find like I would get both. I would be more inclined to get both so that I can play it and have the 2 different experiences.
yeah.
If they had it like Pokemon, where it's the same game with tweaks here and there
Yeah.
or different item rarities and things like that, I wouldn't be inclined to get both. I would just get one. And
Yeah.
I know Nintendo wants my money. They're very good at getting it out of me.
All right.
Yeah.
Final question on this topic before we move on to our next news story, talking about Splatoon. Starting with you, Mandy. What are your hopes, not for the next big Zelda game, so not the big follow-up to Breath of the Wild, but whatever the next handheld type Zelda game would be? What are your hopes for that?
I hope it will be something with Toon Link, and it will kind of be like I wouldn't know where to put it, but I want to have like Toon Link and more of a story, and yeah, just
Is there
simple.
any specific timeline that you would like it to take place in, or like directly after a specific game or before a specific game?
Well, I just want the timeline to be erased entirely and put Breath of the
Okay.
Wild. Breath of the Wild starts the timeline, and then you go down from there.
Okay.
because everything's a mess now.
So you would want it to be like a sort of sequel to Breath of the Wild, or taking place like long after Breath of the Wild.
Or just independent, I take it.
I'll see. That's a problem. I guess independent.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, what about you, Axel? What are your hopes?
Well, I'll just add on to something she said real quick. Before Breath of the Wild was even announced properly, when we were talking about Zelda Wii U, I actually wrote an article saying the next game should be in New Hyrule from Spirit Tracks. And when she mentioned Toon Link, I'm like, yeah, we should see New Hyrule again. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
I would say that my main pick is like, I mean, you're talking about a handheld game, so it'd be more applicable, I guess, to A Link Between Worlds' world design than necessarily Breath of the Wild's. But like between both games, I feel like one of the weak points of those games is they're a little too open almost. I think I talked about this a little bit last time I was here, but like one of the things that bugs me about Breath of the Wild is like it's so open that there's almost no meaningful decisions in where you want to go. You can just go wherever. I feel like it's interesting when you kind of limit the player's actions a bit and you give them the ability to have to think about how they want to go through the world. But I also think that one of Breath of the Wild's big weak points, which isn't one of A Link Between Worlds, is there's not a lot of like level design. Right. Your face is fishing. There's not like a lot of level design in the areas. So like, for example, when you go through the overworld, there's not a lot of, how do I get to that area? How do I overcome this terrain? How do I, blah, blah, blah. Whereas in a lot of the older Zelda games, you have lots of that. And I feel like I'd like to make sure that the next game could be as open as Breath of the Wild, I don't care, but maybe has a little bit more structure and a lot more like designed areas that create unique challenges.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing. That's my big thing. That's one thing I feel like the more recent games have not quite nailed, even though they've really brought back the openness, which is really great stuff.
And
Yeah, I think.
Sorry, what were you saying, Mandy?
I think like Zelda needs to start. I think it needs to start focusing on some story.
Yeah.
Maybe make Link a character and not like a vessel for you to go around. But that's just my opinion. I wish he could talk. I want to know what he's thinking. And more like character development with like the characters and stuff. They did good with Zelda and Breath of the Wild.
With the cutest smile in existence at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Or wherever it is.
So I hope they go with that, but I know a lot of people might not like that idea.
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot of directions they can take individual games. I think a lot of Zelda fans get a little caught up on like, well, I don't want the whole series. Well, yeah, but would you enjoy it one time?
Yeah.
Because
that's what I've always thought, is that like a lot of people complained about the motion control in Skyward Sword, and my thought was, even if you don't like it, it's one game out of like 30 plus years of Zelda games. That's just one game out of like who knows how many. And the same with like Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks. Like I wasn't a fan of the touch controls. I would have preferred normal controls, but I looked at it as like a one-time experience. Like I would rather have it than not have it.
Yeah.
So
like I very much enjoyed those games, but I never would, like even me, I would never want every Zelda game to have the touch controls. No way.
No.
Yeah.
But I really
That's
enjoyed
the thing, is that Zelda as a series has stayed so current and relevant over 30 years because it's changing constantly.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the games, the controls are going to be a little bit different, but it's going to be a 1 or 2 time thing, and that's fine. Like they're experimenting all the time, just changing it up, and the series overall is better for it, in my opinion.
I have a new video idea.
Uh-oh.
Nice.
Let's hear it. The exclusive insider scoop.
Tell us your secrets.
Tell us.
Oh.
Do you want to share the video idea you have?
You don't have to. It's okay if you don't want to.
No. I want to make a video like discussing what type of Zelda games like to see in the future.
Go on.
Which is like,
You know,
He's pretending.
like discussion theory stuff. I'm thinking.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
no, it's
I
all
was
it's
just
all in
kidding.
the brainstorm.
All right, Daniel, what are your hopes?
Well, yeah, are we still talking about the leaks then?
No, it ties into it because one of the leaks was the new whatever Zelda game. So, like, if it were to be true, what would your hopes that it would be?
Yeah, well, like I said, I would like to see those DS Zelda games remastered with some. I guess it would have to be more traditional controls because the Switch. I mean, the 3DS theoretically could do it with this. It has a stylus, but the Switch wouldn't be able to use touch controls. Yeah, so I would like to see that because, like I said, it's a barrier for a lot of players who haven't played it because they're turned off by change in touch controls. Any of the games listed, if they announced, I wouldn't be upset about, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I never played the Pokemon games listed. Was it Sapphire and
It was Nuclear and Chemical.
Nuclear and Chemical? Those are the ones. I never played those ones. I haven't played most of the Pokemon games. So.
No one's played those ones. I know.
Anyway.
Just as long as we're clear on that.
Okay. many of these games I actually haven't played, so bringing them over to Switch, I would be more inclined. Link Between Islands sounds hella fake, but if they make A Link Between Worlds style Zelda game, I'll be very happy because I adored the hell out of A Link Between Worlds.
That was a good game.
Mm-hmm. I mean, because for me, it hit me right in the nostalgia because A Link to the Past was my first Zelda game, so like it got me good. You know, just like I was squealing the whole way through, right? But there was also like a lot of really good puzzles in the game. Kind of what you were saying, Axel, about sort of the openness of it was limiting in the dungeon design because you can't have the skill curve as much. Yeah. Because if you can access the dungeons in any order, you can't have Dungeon 1 be easy and Dungeon 8 be really hard because if someone goes to Dungeon 8 first, they're not going to have a good time.
You can do it with enemies pretty easily by like scaling up their power, but
true
puzzles you'd have to design different puzzles.
Yeah, exactly, and so that would detract from the experience if they had to change the puzzles per the order of your playthrough.
Yeah.
But I do like the openness because then it adds a layer of like where are you going to go first and then where are you going to go next as sort of another dimension of the strategy of how you're going to get through the game. Yeah. Which I appreciate. So if they do another one like that, if it had to be A Link Between Islands as a working title, please change the title before release. But I can imagine it being something related to Link's Awakening or the Oracle games. Like those ones are on islands, right? So
maybe actually that is the point. Actually, if you think about it, maybe it's like A Link Between Worlds, but for Link's Awakening, like redo that world in a new story.
Yeah, that would be cool. I would go back and finish playing Link's Awakening because I didn't finish it. So just to get through that, so that would be cool. Jesse, what are your hopes and dreams?
I really want to see something like I want to see an upgraded art style to that of A Link Between Worlds and Triforce Heroes. Like, so think about Pokemon X and Y's art style. That was what, whenever they first made the 3DS, that was the first Pokemon game that they put out. And then something that they've never really done before that I could think of, they updated the art style within the same console generation. So you have Pokemon X and Y, which looked great when it came out, and then you had Pokemon Sun and Moon, which was a little bit too good for the 3DS to handle because the game runs so poorly. Even on the new 3DS, like it still has its moments where it chugs along. But I was thinking if A Link Between Worlds and Triforce Heroes would be akin to X and Y, what would the top-down 2.5D art style be that would be more akin to Sun and Moon, to where it doesn't look amazing, but it looks better enough to where it stands out on its own. It's not just updated textures, it's a brand new art style, but it's still like the top-down 2.5D. I would like to see something like that. And then in terms of the world, I wouldn't want it to be Hyrule. I would want it to be like everyone thinks about the return to like Termina being in 3D.
Yeah.
But what if it was like a top-down version of Termina?
That'd be cool.
So,
or New Hyrule.
or new. We already have a top-down version of New Hyrule.
But it would be nice to go
one.
back, because with Spirit Tracks, like, you don't really get to explore very much the world. Like, you get the small bounded areas and then the train tracks, right?
Yeah,
so you get to
it's
see
a link between
everything.
tracks.
Imagine a normal Zelda games. Imagine normal Zelda exploration of the underwater area.
Oh no, that would be so cool, because that was a really cool part of that game.
Yeah.
Was what the tracks go under the water and there's all the it was just very visually like, whoa,
Yeah.
like, this is really cool. So I would love to see that, where you're not bounded by being stuck in the train and on these preset paths, and you can just be out and explore. Maybe still have the trains as a faster way of getting around, but be able to hop off and go out and explore.
To clarify,
it's a great excuse.
In the chat, JustX says we already have a top-down version of Termina. It's called Low Roll. Those are two completely
not
different.
the same place, dude.
Two
I mean, that is an
completely
interesting
different
theory,
places.
but no, that's not confirmed in any way. Like, that's not a fact.
It's
It's definitely an interesting thought.
Low
but-
Roll is based off of the Dark World, which would be the Sacred Realm, not.
Yeah, but let's clarify that it's not the Sacred Realm either.
It's
Yeah.
based off.
Off of it from a design standpoint.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, there actually is a better theory in general to say that it could be the Sacred Realm, but I still don't. There's no confirmation of any kind. We can't say that with any kind of certainty.
Yeah.
And-
That lines up better than saying it's Termina, though, for sure. But yeah.
He says, "I know you guys, but it's the same difference." I mean, he's right. It's both are parallel universes with the same kind of people. It's like they're infinite
that's
realities.
the same as like someone living in Termina saying the Twilight Realm and Hyrule are the same because they're both parallel to Termina.
Yeah, but everyone in the Twilight Realm looks like weird alien monkeys. So,
but
everyone
do they see their
like
selves
the Dark
as
World,
weird
though,
alien
is like
monkeys?
what? Well, no, in the Dark World, they just turn into alien monkeys.
right.
This
Your
is why I
face is
say,
alien.
like, they need to make a new timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
Clean it
like.
up.
I love the Dragon Break theory. Just like everything just
Yeah.
clean. It's
That-
clean. It's dealt with.
That's your
I will-
most popular Zelda
will-
Informer video.
Back from my Zedi days. Yeah. No, that's one of my favorites.
All right, Daniel, take us to our Splatoon story.
Yes, Splatoon. Our story comes from GoNintendo.com, who we often cite. Nintendo's Splatoon panel at GDC 2018